Morning, Mr. Lamendola. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Give us your full name and your Department of Corrections ID.
Sabrina Lamendola. My ID is 627411.
Thank you. My name is Alvin Rocha, Ms. Lamendola. To my left is Ms. Pearl Wise. To my right is Mrs. Cheryl Renasi. We're here for a parole hearing today. Let me explain the process to you. I will read some information into the record. Once that information is in the record, we'll conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we allow the staff to make comments. And at the very end, before we vote, we will make give you the chance to make a brief statement on why you should be released early. Before that, we'll allow your mother, Miss Tony Leggett, to speak. Your grandmother, Miss Glenn Dearmont, and grandfather George Dearmont would like to make a statement on your mother and your grandfather and your grandmother Glenn is here for support and will not speak. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You're a fourth felony offender. The offenses are possession with intent to distribute meth. You were sentenced on November 14th, 2022, and you received 441 days jail credit. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your parole date is August 9th, 2023. Your adjusted good time date is February 10th, 2024, and your full term date is August 28th, 2028. Is all this information correct?
Yes, sir. I believe so.
And your total sentence was 7 years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your case has been assigned to Ms. Renaza. Would you please answer Mrs. Renaza's questions?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Ms. Lamendola. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Thanks for asking. So, how long you been in jail?
Right now I've been in jail for 9 months. I have another 11 that I've done on these charges. So total almost 20 months.
I had about 18 months, so about 20 months.
Somewhere around the, something like that.
So, as Mr. Roche mentioned, you're classified as a fourth felony offender. So how old are you now? How old are you?
I just turned 45.
And how old were you when you were first arrested?
26.
And that was for drugs,
Yes, ma'am.
some drug related issue.
Yes, ma'am.
So when did you first start using drugs?
When I was 26.
And so why, that's unusual that we usually see it at a much younger age. Tell us what happened. Why did that happen to you? Why did you make that choice?
A lot of self-esteem issues. A lot. I can't have any children, and I found that out at a young age, and I didn't deal with it. And I still don't think I've dealt with it completely, but I'm way better at it than I was before.
So it was mental health issues, you think,
Yes, ma'am.
but you hadn't dealt with that unfortunate situation. So I see multiple arrests. I see, so that was 26 at your first arrest, and there was one in 2010. That was a domestic abuse situation.
Mm-hmm.
It was not crossed. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 other arrests for drugs, and then you had a simple possession while in jail. It was introduction of contraband into a.
Yes, ma'am. It was in my pocket. Yeah, it was in my pocket, and I didn't realize that it was still there. I guess I thought that the police had taken it out and they did too, but they didn't. So, yeah.
So that's why it ended up being simple possession.
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of, okay, yeah. Okay, so you've been in jail about 20 months. We've talked about you have a substance abuse issue. What have you done to address that? Are you in any programs now, or have you, I look and I see a prior period of incarceration, you did do living in balance, but then you got in trouble again. So what have you done since?
Well, the classes, I'm in anger management now, which is a big trigger for me. And I've learned that my anger is a very big trigger. I did start 2 other classes yesterday. Unfortunately, it's very hard to get in classes here. But in the meantime, while I was waiting to get in classes, I got into another program that's outside of here whenever I leave here. Specializes in substance abuse. It's Woodlake. I don't know if y'all have the paperwork. I have it here in front of me. But it's an inpatient program and it's an intensive outpatient program also. And then after the intensive outpatient, you go to a substance abuse, I'm in a sober living house. It's a very good program. I know several people who have done it and have stayed clean from it.
So, okay, so but you mentioned that you started in 2 additional programs yesterday. What are they?
Yes, ma'am. Reentry and risk management. And unfortunately, whenever I finish reentry and when I finish anger management, I will not have time to finish risk management. That's another reason why I went ahead and found another place for me to go to once I leave here, because I feel like, you know, I never really had a plan whenever I left before. I just always went back to the same thing. And I thought this time if I got out and went to a place that specialized in substance abuse, I could learn more about my addiction and how to control it.
What's the longest period of time you've been incarcerated?
18 months. I was in one other time before this, so this will be my longest time once I'm done. Yes, ma'am.
When do you finish the reentry program? That just started yesterday, you said?
Just started yesterday. Yes, ma'am. I finished, I think June 24th is
Somewhere up in there.
somewhere around
Early
June
July.
24th, early July. My anger management ends June 8th, and I'm not sure when my risk management ends. In 6 months.
You'll get some good time credits for those 2 programs. So that's why
Yes,
the
ma'am.
time date's going to move up.
Yes, ma'am.
Finish the other programs. I don't know. I did see in your record that you were interested in a sober living facility, that you wanted to, it's in Baton Rouge, Woodlake in Baton Rouge,
Yes, ma'am.
into the Oxford House Sober Living.
Well, wherever they place me, I've been to an Oxford house before. I did very well in it. Woodlake places you into a sober living of their choice at first, so you can go to IOP, the intensive outpatient program, and then I believe they have their own sober living houses also.
So before you came to jail, were you employed?
I'm sorry. Was I employed? Yes, ma'am. I was a nanny. I was taking care of children actually, and I also did construction. And I loved it. I loved to take it. Their parents actually made me their godmothers after I was taking care of them for so long. So it was really, really good.
So what are your plans whenever you get out of jail and you finish your treatment? What are your
I would like to continue to do something in childcare, and I would also like to continue to do something in the jail system for other women in my position. To, help them, because, drug addiction is a very serious, it's very serious. It takes your whole life, your entire life. And I wish I'd have known that before I started doing drugs. But, maybe to help other women like myself learn that, just because you have a default with yourself doesn't mean that your whole life has to be a default.
That's a serious disease, and it's going to follow you for the rest of your life.
Yes, ma'am.
Learn that yet?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, most definitely.
Ever given any thought to pursuing some counseling for your mental health needs?
Yes, ma'am. I was actually enrolled at Gonzalez Mental Health, and I would like to continue that whenever I get out. They had a really good program that I was going to. I let the drugs get the better of me.
Have you ever been to any other meetings? Or NA?
Any, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I've been to NA meetings.
How often did you go?
Not often enough. I can say that, not often enough. Most
So you
definitely.
quit going to meetings and that's when you got back to control.
Yes,
Now-
ma'am.
It's important.
Most definitely. It's very important to work the steps. My a very good friend of my family is in AA, and I never realized how important it was to continue the steps until he told me he's been sober for 12 years now.
Still doing.
Great. He's still doing great.
Yeah, but he's still doing his meetings is what I meant.
Oh, yes. Yes, ma'am. Every day.
So
Every day.
that's how it is. So what barriers do you see that will face you to, to being successful? What barriers do you think you'll encounter and how are we going to do it?
Well, before I always went back to the same things. I always had the same people in my life, which I don't now. I don't speak to anybody that I was associated with before I started using. I'm different today. My mindset is different on, I'm getting old. I'm getting older in age. My grandparents are getting older. My mom's getting older, and I really don't want to be in jail and lose any of them. And, it's just, I've learned, I guess, like, I've matured way more this time I've been in jail than I have any other time. It's humbled me very much.
Why do you think that is?
Because today I'm a different person.
I think those people that you hung around with and that you did drugs with, they're gonna come knocking on your door. You don't see
Oh, I'm sure they're still out there. They're still out there, most definitely. I have no desire at all whatsoever to go back to the same place that I was at.
So once you do treatment and you go through all that, we talked about the sober living, then where are you gonna go live? I know that's a long-term plan, but what's next?
Well, once you're in sober living, you have an opportunity to save up your money and everything to get a place. And I know I have good family support out there. So that's what I'm gonna be doing, is saving up my money and trying to get my own little spot. I'm not sure where I want to go yet, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if I want to go back to the same town that I was in, or if I want to start somewhere different. But I got to start somewhere, and I think sober living would be a good place to start. I did very well whenever I was in it before.
Fresh start sounds like a good idea. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have other questions.
Okay, would Mr. George Dearmont please open your mic?
Okay, here we go. Now they can hear you.
Yeah. This is George.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Dearmont. How are you?
Fine, sir.
Good. Give us your statement, give us your full name and your statement.
And whatever your statement wants to be.
What do these hearing aids?
Yeah, we're on a laptop and the volume is not good and the hearing aids aren't working very well. So your full name and
George Agnew DeArmond Jr.
and then whatever you want to say.
And you'd like for me to say something, my comments?
Yes, sir.
Well, go back to Sabrina. Sabrina's our oldest granddaughter. She lived across the street from us for quite a few years and stayed at our house more than at her house, probably. She loved to go watch television with us and hang at the house. She's a very sweet person, very smart, very talented. To brag on a little bit, she was flown out to California at one time and participated in the singing show, the program on TV, The Voice. And she done very well in it. So get her to sing a song for you. They told her she didn't make the cut, but if she went to another class for music to get her timing or something right, they wanted her to come back. And things happened and she never did go back. But she's a very talented person, very smart. We love her very much. And when this is over with, whatever Granny and Papa, that's what Sabrina named us when she was a baby. And every grandchild and every great-grandchild we have calls us Granny and Papa. We're gonna do whatever is possible that we can do to make this dream of mine come true. Every night before I close my eyes, I pray to the good Lord that he lets me live long enough and to help Sabrina get back into the real society. This is the last thing I do before I close my eyes at night. And June 11th, I'll be 87 years old, but I feel like I'm 50. And so whatever we can do to help her, we pledge to do that.
Thank you, Mr. George. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure having you. And you should see the smile on Sabrina's face. Ms. Tony Leggett.
Yes, sir. My Tony DeArmond Leggett, and I didn't really prepare a statement. It's just that, you know, I know Sabrina was at 19. She learned she couldn't have children. She had to have this really strange operation. And well, I don't want to go into it. It's really personal, but it was a very odd surgery. She was in the hospital for a good bit.
Psychologically, it hurt.
Yeah, they were doing chromosome tests and we were like, okay, is she a boy or a girl? That kind of messed around with all of us. But I was young. I was still, well, if she was 19, I was 39. So we didn't even think about that may mess her up. And then her sister, who's 10 months older than her, got pregnant. And that's kind of when she went on the deep, went off the deep. Sabrina loves children and children love her. And that's been her whole life. You baby in the room, they're going to go and hang with Sabrina, or Sabrina's going to pick them up and rock them to sleep. And so I didn't realize how much that affected her because, you know, she was like, Heather and the other grandkids would be at the house and Sabrina would be at the house with them. And I thought it was odd. I thought, what, you know, because she was 25, 26 years old before she started doing drugs. And it was like, why now? But I kind of put it together after she told me not long ago how much that affected her. And the problem with it is that, you know, she's got a big long rap sheet. Can't get a job or a normal, you know, I don't know of anybody around here that's would hire her. And then she gets back in that cycle of, okay, well, I have to make money, I have to eat. And we go back to the drug house, you know, to the dope thing. She was doing so good this last time, but I don't know what set her off to throw her off the deep end this most recent time. But it did, and she ended up in, you know, trouble again. And so we're hoping that she, when she comes out, goes straight to a recovery center, and then do the program, get in sober housing, go to NA meetings every day, and get away from where she was living before, because it's down in Livingston Parish, and it's just not a good place. It's full of dope. And so I think living away from that those people in that area would do her good.
Thank you, Ms. Leggett. Thank you so much. Ms. Leggett,
Yes, sir.
would Granny Lynn like to say hello?
You want to just, my mother is going to cry when she opens her mouth, but Sabrina knows she loves her.
All right. Sabrina, would you like to make a closing statement?
I would, yes. I know what I did was wrong, and I take full responsibility for everything that I've done, all of my actions. I'm hoping at the same time for understanding in the severity of my drug addiction. On almost a daily basis in here, I have been offered drugs, and I've always, even in my past times that I've been in jail, I've always said, I don't do drugs in jail. I don't do drugs in jail. And I just realized that I've been conditioning myself to make it okay for doing them on the streets. But today I say, I don't do drugs anymore, period. I have been walking through my life half-lived, letting moments slip through my fingers, avoiding the present, worrying about the future, just longing for a better time and place rather than creating my own path. Watching the years go by, taking for granted things like my family, my future, and my life. But today I see a better future for myself. Today I see a sober future, and today I love myself more than my addiction.
Thank you, ma'am. Well stated, well stated.
Thank you.
And Ms. Sabrina, I just need to say this. You have a very nurturing and loving family. When this episode of your life complete, take advantage of the love and support that I see in your family.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's a panoramic book. So it's nice.
Well, Sabrina, I really enjoyed watching your face light up when you heard Papa speak. I mean, that was really special. Look, I think you've been really doing some self-reflection and work and taking advantage of whatever opportunities may have been available with you during this period of incarceration. I'd be willing to give you a chance because I think you have a good plan in place. I really do. My vote would be to grant conditionally. And, you know, I think it's going to move your dates up real close, but I do want you to complete the reentry and the anger management. And I'd also ask staff to see if they could get you at the same time and work it all at the same time of thinking for change, because you did have a high risk score on something called antisocial thinking, and thinking for change would help with that. And then release you to your, you know, your Wood Lake inpatient intensive outpatient program plan, special conditions. You know, I would like you to follow up with the mental health treatment program, you know, and apply with whatever that professional prescribes for you, whether it be counseling, medication, whatever. And then I'd like to see, once you get lined out, you don't have to do this immediately, but I'd like to see you do some community service work, like 4 hours a month. And I want you to teach children to sing. Okay?
Okay.
And 3 AA meetings a week.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. White.
Sabrina, I must say, when I read your case last night, you done well today. You done well. You preparing for today, and I believe you. I believe you love yourself more than your addiction. That's what you said. But that be your mantra. I believe you. And you are blessed that you haven't lost anybody while you've been incarcerated. So you know the choice to stay out this time, but that is rare, especially in this world we live in. So you are blessed. So I concur with my colleague. My vote is a grant for the reasons already stated. I concur with the special conditions set forth. I would state that community service starts 6 months after release, because you got a lot of treatment stuff to get worked out 6 months after. You can be spending that time planning on how you can go and teach them. Best wishes to you.
Thank you.
Sabrina, I enjoyed my interview with you, and my vote is the same, for the same reasons, with the same conditions, but I will add one condition, that you have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. There's nothing going on good after 9 o'clock at night.
Yes, sir.
So you only get in trouble. So a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Good luck. You receive 3 votes. Grant your request upon completion of the programs that were mentioned by Mr. Knight.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.